introduction. So this is Christos, whose exact title I don't know, but I don't think that's as important as what he does. And I've given a brief introduction as to what we're doing in our FIRE project. I'll let you elaborate a little more. This is Lisa, who's also part of this project, and I'm going to head into all the questions so that I don't bias research anyway.
Okay, well, thank you for taking the time to speak with us today. As Tim says, we're doing an MBA project at the moment on apprenticeships, and what we're doing is at the moment we're undertaking research. So we are speaking to apprentices and people that implement apprenticeship schemes in order to try to get behind why organisations use them in the first place, and secondly, how successful they are. Now, I know that with your organisation, you have traditionally gone down a more graduate and professional recruitment programme, and that the apprenticeship scheme is quite a new concept for you guys. One of our other cohort works for BAE Systems, and they're much further down on the track in terms of their apprentice programme and how that works. And my organisation comes somewhere in between. And between us, the sort of sectors are different as well. So obviously yours in terms of marketing, internet-based marketing, BAE Systems obviously is defence, and mine is accountancy. So we're trying to sort of pull all of these interview responses together, and basically try and find some patterns about how the how and the why, in the sense of why people would use apprenticeships, and actually how could we make them more successful. So I understand from Tim that obviously your role is recruitment. So can you just give me a little bit of background in terms of the sort of traditional recruitment that you've been doing, and then what your involvement has been in terms of the apprenticeship recruitment?
So I look after the recruitment and the development teams here at Trader. So when it comes to the apprenticeship that we currently have always had apprentices. So we've got about 20 people in the business. But they have, instead of being coordinated as one central program, it has been coordinated locally in the teams where the apprenticeships are based. So this is the first time that now we move to the next stage where we bring the apprenticeships at the same time. We also have a program as coordinated center.
Okay, and so how long have you been at Auto Trader?
I've been 2 years.
2 years, and so in sort of the sort of your opinion, what sort of discrepancy would you say is between sort of the graduates that you take on and the apprentices that you take on? How do you think they discriminate from each other?
So I guess obviously the graduates have gone through their university career, so they have a longer academic career after school, as opposed to apprenticeships that tend to be, it's not always the case because there are more mature apprenticeships as well. We don't have any. I mean, you see that as well in other organizations. But for us, our graduates have completed their academic career at university, and they come to us with those skills, both on the subject areas, but also the life experience that going to university and having left, most probably left home that takes and goes through those 3 or 4 years of university. So there's the initial distinction. Sorry?
So it's you think that the distinction is about maturity?
It's not necessarily maturity. They do come with that additional experience that the university brings. Apprentices that come to us at a younger age will not necessarily have those years at university. Now, the issue of sort of like the concept of maturity, I guess, it's a much more complex one to actually achieve. Just because someone has gone to university, they're more mature. What we've seen is actually that's not the case. You see a lot of apprentices that come and when it comes to their approach to work, they're equally mature compared to our graduates as well. So I wouldn't see a massive difference there. It all depends on the big difference, and I've seen that in previous programs and in other businesses that I've worked in. If they have some work experience, even if that's work experience on a Saturday job or a summer job, they tend to be able to understand what it means to be at work and how that is different to being at school, to being at university. And a lot of times the transition is when it comes to things that you have to be here on time because it's work. You have to behave in a certain way because it's work, as opposed to I couldn't make it today because I didn't have and things like that. But I find actually in the beginning there are some things that they need to get used to. But that happens both with apprenticeships and graduates because different environment is an academic environment and a professional environment that work different. So you find people that have summer jobs or winter jobs are more used to that.
So so as an organisation, how do you sort of get that information that this is what it means to be at work over to the apprentices? Because presumably, you've said that the sort of, it can be the same between graduates and apprentices, but actually, I guess they've got less time on the side, apprentices. So how do you communicate that sort of concept to them about work needs to be different?
So I think it's first of all, as part of the resourcing process, you need to give them a realistic preview of first of all what the job is going to be, but also what the culture of the organization is. That's why when we design the assessment centers are designed not only for us to assess them, but for them to actually have an overview of what life at the apprentice is going to be like, what the life when you're working is going to be like, so that they can get prepared. And when we choose the people, then that onboarding period, which is from the moment we give them the good news that they're successful, all the way to the first month working with them, we try to integrate in the life of work, as well as obviously their values, their team, their overall department. So there are things like that, and we prepare the line managers, the coaches, and the mentors when it comes to those aspects, so that they know that they can support them. Especially for apprentices, it's more important because they are, like you said, tend to be less mature, less used to working. So therefore, these are the things that the managers and the mentors need to be aware to set the expectations of what's required. They also be quite understanding, because it can, the initial 3 months are very important. They need to understand that they're making a transition from school to work.
Okay, that's really interesting. So the assessment day, is it just one day that they have with you where you sort of see what they're like, they see what you're like?
So there's they go through, because the one that it differs actually. So the apprentice that we have found through learning organizations. So before we worked with QA, and currently we're working with Manchester Digital. The initial vetting happens through those organizations. So they apply, they come through different ways, through their schools, through different routes. So they already have some information there. And then they usually come and spend a day with us, where they meet different parts of business, they go through the different parts of the assessment, which could be an interview, a group exercise, and some other job-related, most probably, activity.
But you're saying there was a pre-selection.
There was, yes, yeah, of course, yeah.
Who did that? Someone else?
So, well, that's the particular one that James was referring to. That was
right. So we didn't have to
no.
Yes. Yeah.
So when they come and spend a day with you and you give them their interview or their sort of team building, what is it that you're looking for from them? What makes one of them a good candidate as an apprentice, and what makes one of them not a good candidate?
So this particular, the one that you're referring to, is assessing a lot of their potential and readiness for the program. It's quite complicated because we are assessing the individuals for the program, and that could end up those individuals could end up being based because it's not exclusively for the trader, it's for the Manchester digital employers that are linked to the program.
Okay.
So what we're looking for specifically for the trader is that readiness for the program, and then the most important aspect is do they meet the other trader values?
Do you think that sort of preparation time, so whatever Manchester Digital has done for you, and then when they come to you for that particular day, is it your belief that sort of part of that and that selection program is will result in it being more successful than if you did it in a sort of usual, as you would with a graduate program? So somebody comes in, as you know, they sit in your organisation for a day, you test them maybe with some psychometric tests or whatever, and then you make a very sort of a binary choice at the end of the day. Do you think that the sort of preliminary work that Manchester Digital is doing, plus the follow-up that you guys do, will contribute to the success of that apprentice scheme?
So we see the methodology that's being used is very similar. The people that are actually carrying out that are different. So the methodology is not fundamentally that different. So I guess the proof is going to be in and what happens at the end of the program. But they're not doing fundamentally different. The only difference which I guess could potentially increase the success of the program is that there's a variety of people that are making a decision from like-minded businesses from Manchester in this case, which would mean that any personal bias that comes into the decision doesn't necessarily have so much impact in the selection of the successful individuals, because it's a group decision. And because it's a variety of businesses, then those sort of like cultural biases that we might have they might not come too much into play.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're involved in all these different people can be a very positive thing.
So you think that maybe there's do you think that maybe that increases the sort of diversity of the people that you'll take on? Because I know with my particular organisation, we have a bit of a problem in cloning when we're recruiting, because we think, you know, clients are going to like certain personalities. We have to be very careful, because ideally we want somebody that's very technical, is happy to stay in the office, but then we need business winners, and usually the two don't marry particularly well together. Whereas, so we use a lot of sort of external resource in our recruitment process to make sure that we get that diversity. So ordinarily,
I think it's very important. However, you know, the diversity of the final selection is going to be dependent on that final 21. So you can only be as diverse as those 21 people that have actually been shortlisted. So the Manchester Digital is very, you know, that's one of the key objectives, to make sure that they bring people to the apprenticeship program from a much wider especially when it comes to socioeconomic background as well as the different diversity strands. And we have made a deliberate diverse people in the assessment itself, to your point, because people tend to choose people that are like them. And then we also monitor the intake of the field to make sure that it is diverse. And the challenge is that you have 21 people, so we say 21 people, if they're not diverse, then whatever you're choosing is going to be assessed for 21 people.
Yeah.
With apprenticeships in particular, though, what you tend to find is that you might find people from certain minorities, because especially when it comes to the socioeconomic status, you will find that they might be coming from different groups, because they will not choose to go to university. So by default, the program itself might attract a more diverse group of individuals.
So I guess to take it back to the beginning, you've obviously got more experience outside of Auto Trader, and you've got experience inside of Auto Trader. What's the, in sort of your opinion, what's the primary driver for both Auto Trader and those other organisations for implementing the apprentice schemes in the first place? So for my organisation, it's because we know there is going to be a skill shortage of accountants coming through because of the financial crisis, or the Big Four stopped training people, and we know that that will have a massive impact on our business in sort of, a couple of years' time, where nobody's got any managers. So what we're trying to do is sort of build from the bottom up, so it's a bit more of a long-term view. What's your sort of opinion as to sort of why Auto Trader have sort of diversified a bit in their recruitment program and selection, and sort of why apprentices particularly?
So I think for Auto Trader, it's the purely commercial reason that you mentioned, the fact that we will need to build our own talent pool of people to take on these positions in the future, especially when it comes to the digital apprenticeship now, which is a technical, the software and engineering apprenticeship that we are involved in. The thing that I think makes it stand out when it comes to our project Auto Trader is that the responsibility to the community to actually make a difference in the community as a responsible employer, which is very much into our values. And this is not like a PR exercise where we think we should be doing that, because that's going to impact our brand, and everyone's going to like Auto Trader and want to come to work in order to be a good customer. It's actually a genuine thing that it's actually quite close to people's personal values as well as the Auto Trader values. So you see the people that are actually being involved with the apprenticeship are also doing it because they think it's the right thing to do.
And so how have you got that knowledge or information that actually it makes people feel good, or that it's good for a community, or people have sort of intrinsic values and beliefs regarding how they should assist their local community?
So we started offering those opportunities for people to volunteer in initiatives like that, and we see the take-up and the success that those initiatives have. So we started very small when it comes to promoting this STEM agenda. And one example of that was we run Code Clubs, which is a national program that teaches 9 to 11-year-olds how to code. So our software engineers go to a local school once a week during term time, and they teach how to code for an hour and a half. So we've seen the take-up of that increasing. So we started with 2 people, and now we've got about I think 14 to 16 people involved. And from feedback that we have from these people, they get a lot of satisfaction from working with children and promoting this kind of agenda at Greater Manchester. So that's a testament of fact actually. And it's purely on a volunteer basis. You don't have to do it. It's not particularly rewarded, or it's not particularly signposted by the leadership team as something that you need to do in order to be promoted or anything like that. It's purely on a volunteer basis. So that's quite a good indication that people are doing it, to get involved in it. And it's actually something that started from the people team, but now has moved into the business, and the business is actually coordinated that. We don't need to get involved anymore. They coordinate themselves.
So have you linked that to your sort of values and your mission statement and your beliefs? Is your sort of, HR strategy sort of taking all these bits about sort of, these are our values, we want to assist our community, the sort of, I think Tim mentioned like a buddying and a mentoring system and a coaching system. Is that all you sort of, is there a sort of master plan of that for apprentices, for what that you think are going to be important to them? Or is it, generally this is how we feel about all of our employees and we think it's going to apply the same to those apprentices?
No, it's actually it's quite a much more, I wouldn't call it a master plan, but it is part of our strategy. So our HR strategy is part of our people and culture and environment strategy, which is everything that we do is underpinned by our values. So our people and culture strategy does have that make a difference element, which is our involvement with the community, and they are very closely linked. So the support that we give the apprentices and the projects that the apprentices are also going to be involved in are interlinked with our community strategy as well. So, for example, one of the projects that the apprenticeships are potentially going to be working on has to do with the community. So as a group, and for them to develop not only their technical skills, but as part of developing their collaboration skills, their software skills, they're going to be doing a project in the community, which we are now looking to finalize what that is going to be.
So what sort of, in terms of the development of the apprenticeship program, what sort of thought has gone into that in terms of sort of to make it as successful as it can be, in the sense of the sort of pieces that you've pulled together about what you're offering to the apprentices?
So the development of the apprentices is going to be responsible for both Auto Trader and the training provider and Manchester Digital are all going to be responsible for the development of those apprentices. Because there are other businesses involved in it, the real positive of that is that they'll benefit to have access to all these other businesses as well, and apprentices that are paid for other businesses as well. So that makes it quite complicated to coordinate, but it will offer them that diversity when it comes to the ways that they are going to be developed. So all the apprentices will have a job from day one. They will have a technical coach, which is going to be focused on developing technical skills. They're going to have a mentor that is going to be the person that's going to be mentoring and developing their skills, making sure that they get the best out of the program and the best out of their Auto Trader. And they're also going to have a people leader, which is a traditional line manager, who is going to be responsible from the day-to-day point of view, and from what you traditionally would think that a line manager would do. So they're going to have those three people assigned to individually. Now, when designing the program, we've designed it with our people team and the learning team, together with our technology team, and got together to look at what will they need from a technical skills perspective and what do they need from a software skills perspective. What's also been provided by the learning skills company and Manchester Digital, and we combine this based on blended learning, so they're going to learn on the job. They're going to learn on the days when they go out and again as a group. They have their days out learning skills. They're going to learn by networking with our cohort of apprentices that are taking part in the Manchester Digital program. And we're going to have a specific day which is called master classes, and they're going to be run with the learning development team, especially when it comes to software like engagement. So it's blended learning on the job, concentrating a lot on the job, also with those days out and master classes. So and obviously learning from this, learning from each other, learning from experienced colleagues here.
So in that program, what's the mechanism by which they can sort of feed back to you? You know, so they've obviously got a mentor, presumably they'll be talking to them all the time, but in terms of sort of more formally, how are you going to sort of make sure that they're happy, they're on the right track and that sort of thing?
So the way that we operate here, because we operate in a very agile way, we're not going to wait till 6 months when we have the official retro. We get feedback from them. So we will have a constant opportunity to provide feedback through their mentor, their technical coach, their line manager, and their learning development team that will have meetings with them at different times. The program, we will have the chance where they all get together, probably after a quarter, after the program has started, they do a retro, a retrospective, where they talk about the program in a group situation, and then as it as well. We also take part in the annual engagement survey that we run. There's going to be a different group so that you can see how their engagement with the trader is compared to all the trader overall as well.
So what would, in terms of sort of, obviously, I guess the more making through the program is going to be an indication of how successful it is, but it's sort of long term. Have you got plans to sort of measure how successful the program is going to be? I know it's difficult to say because it's only just beginning, but actually, you know, at what point will you think actually it's been a success? This is a good thing that we've done, you know, and we can prove that because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. So we're going to, and we do that already with our apprentices and our graduates. We look at their development in the business. So a lot of it is integrated into what we do for all our employees, not necessarily, especially when it comes to measuring the success, it's not something that we will do just for the apprentices. We do that for all our employees. So we will integrate the apprentices into the succession planning and 9-box grid that we do on a quarterly basis, which is looking at people's development and looking at people's potential. We look at the turnover, and we look at how they progress in the organization as well. It's for graduates, especially when it comes to our technical background, they tend to actually have more, I guess, a bit more structured career than some of our other graduates, because if they go down to the developer route, we monitor how they move from an apprenticeship or a graduate to a professional developer, to a senior developer, and a principal developer. The time that it takes for each one. Do we actually retain them throughout? Do they, at some point in their career, leave as a trader? Do they leave it and come back? So we monitor the whole journey.
Do you, when you're taking your apprentices on, do you sort of show them the art of the possible? Do you? Because Tim and I have spoken to one of my apprentices, and I think before they came to us, They had an idea about wanting to be an accountant or a tax advisor, but didn't really appreciate that actually they could move through, we're very structured, we've got a real sort of hierarchical structure, that actually they can move through, that once they get past the equivalent to the degree level and then do their professional exams, that actually they could make it all the way to partner, and that's perfectly possible here. And actually we have got a partner who started as an apprentice. Is that something that you show the graduates at the beginning? Do you say to them, this is a real clear career progression that you can start now, and that actually you can go as far as you would want to go?
So we try to be more open when it comes to the path that they will take, because we don't want, and it's the reality, it's not necessarily predetermined, it's down to the individual of where they're actually going to end up, and we want to keep all the options open. So sometimes it's down to the individual how much reassurance they would need and how many examples they would need around that. I think it's very good for them to meet people, talk to them about their individual careers and how they develop in different ways. It could be, your career could be going in a more traditional sense of professional being a principal, or it could be you remain as a professional for a bit longer as you move to different teams and you learn different technologies, or you might move to a different side of the business. So I try to be very open to them, but also make sure that they know that there is a variety of options that they can choose from. That is a big challenge for an organization like AutoTrader that's not high. We try not to be hierarchical, and we try not to present career progression as a ladder. We try to actually explain to them that the way we're hoping to move is showing AutoTrader more as a map, taking them that you're free to explore AutoTrader as a business and move to different places. The reality is that a lot of people, especially at that stage, they don't necessarily appreciate all the different options and how their career is going to move. And some of them want that assurance that they're going to have a job at the end of the program, that they want to see how can they get to the next stage, how can they get the next promotion. So we try to make sure that they know that yes, there is lots of opportunities, but how you get there is not necessarily, not only one way to get there. So that summarizes that.
So I guess instead of sort of it being like my organisation, which is sort of, it is very laddered, it is, you have sort of hurdles that you need to get to in order to get to a certain point. Now, obviously, as our core, the bottom of that is professional technical exams, and then the next level of that, which is management, is then trying to build in those soft skills that actually, you can be as technical as you want really, but if you can't speak to a client or, a member of your team, then you're a bit lost. You're never going to go any further. So we do it in a sort of, right, we get the technical out the way first, we then tackle the sort of managerial soft skills, and then sort of above that, you then go down a sort of sales route, how you actually build value, how you cut across sectors, you become more rounded as a business advisor. You've not just got a sector specialism, you have to have business breadth. So it's very sort of structured in that way, but I guess what you're saying is that sort of because you've got quite a flat organisation, that actually you feel like you've got more freedom in that, even though it doesn't necessarily give the visibility to the apprentices about actually, this sort of ladder effect.
Yeah, because you're right. Yeah, so we do. I guess the program has been developed to address the soft skills, the beginning, as opposed to concentrating on only the tech skills. The percentage of that, though, the technical skills are still very fundamental at that stage. And also the softer skills, it's something that is a continuous and ongoing. It's very similar to the tech side, I guess. but the softer skills is something that people will continue developing at different stages in a career development. Yes, the program has been designed from the beginning.
Okay, that's interesting. Is there anything that I've missed, Tim?
I was thinking about career progression and sort of similar to giving the apprentices expectations up front. Have we told them about the way we work? So kind of squads, cross-functional teams. We go into that level of detail?
We do, yes. So we do during the assessment. What you will find though, when assessments can be quite an intense day for them. So they come prepared, they obviously quite stressed, we try to make them relaxed. But a lot of time they are worried about they're not going to remember everything that I practice, I'm not going to remember everything that I need to say. So where you find that the stars they need that information that we operate is a very important stage. That's why we reiterate all these things again. And also when they start experiencing those things, they make more sense. So we try to be very clear about the culture that we operate, but you see that actually many times it really sinks in when they actually start onboarding, much more relaxed, and it tends to it makes more sense as well when they come to experience it.
Yeah.
What do you think about the brand and whether we talk to them about what do you think? Yeah. What do you think today is coming to? What expectations are coming to?
I guess it could be different. If you look at the retention for graduates, quite high. We retain most of our people retain them for up to the 3 to 5 years. And what happens is that the reasons why people might decide to move on is also important. It's not only how long they stay, but the reasons they decide to move on. So we see that obviously we see that people tend to be more mobile because they choose to live in a different city. So many times they decide to move on because they want to live in the city, a different country. But I think the expectations that they would stay with us for anything between 3 to 5 years.
Head of all their different groups, maybe about 1,000 people every year. But basically, apprentices join expecting to be a for life.
Yeah. So I don't think that the trader is has no expectation for that. Because if you look at the director, many opportunities people are going to be exposed to. And also the skills that we develop our apprentices are really transferable skills that are being used elsewhere. So we would be quite wrong to assume that they're going to stay with us forever. Also, it's not that they're going to learn a trade, the same thing that traditional apprentices in the past would learn and stay with the same. I guess in their hometown.
We have a similar thing with because retention is a bit of a double-edged sword in a measurement of success, in the sense that our organisation is a triangle, and you obviously have less people at the top. So by sort of, just sort of as people move up, in some respects, you want them to leave and go, so they've qualified with us, and then they might go to a client to be an FD. And part of it is, we've trained them well, they've got good memories of being with us, and that then the loyalty is transferred to a client that actually then is retained. And I guess in some respects with BAE that's very similar, because people will leave to go to suppliers and customers and that sort of thing. So it's about, some of it is about not necessarily a measurement of retention, but actually a measurement of loyalty after they sort of.
It's a very good way to see it. Potentially then return after a few years. You don't want to. It's great. There are certain people that will stay with the trader for life. They will change job. They change departments, and that's fantastic as well. But you need the right, don't you? You don't want everyone. You want people to go and come back. You want people to come and stay for 5 years. One of the things that we're looking to do with the apprentices is that so they are going to come in and they're going to, one of the key initiatives that we have as a business is how to engage with drivers. So they will have a set of 5 individuals that are going to join us that are younger drivers because they're a bit of their age. One of the kinds of ways of actually have that in-house way of thinking. It's much better than any piece of research that we commission and you have all these people that are going to start spending time with different people that are more senior in the business as well, and from my generation point of view, and giving them an insight on what actually the young drivers are, how
one of the cultural values. So we've done this assessment with the other and that's just digital. Do you think that the cultural values of a trainer are fairly strong across digital as a community?
Not at all. I think we can continue culture. And I think the way that they different culture and the reality is very different. But no, I would say that we're quite unique. What they share in common though is that, I guess, willingness to be involved in growing that talent in Manchester and working together with other businesses in that particular project. So I guess that's hopefully going to mean that we're going to make this a successful altogether. The people that we are collaborating with, we are aware of them. One of them used to work for the trader. That's Sarah that works as usual, who used to work in our team. So there's definitely similarity there. And Judy is actually one of our partners as well. So there's definitely similarity. I wouldn't say that the cultures are
so another one in on why we do this. So like taking this role, which absorb the cost of training up these people, paying them on the training, and also writing on to be a very taking monetizing out of it. We could alternatively be working more directly with the universities to encourage them to sort of develop more active degree, to get more people with right skills. Why?
We're doing that as well. We work with a lot of universities, we work with different other organizations as well that are aiming to do that. How you make an impact is you're only one of those people that will have an impact on that. And there's a lot of factors that come into that, and nothing to really great business and just building the skills, the technical skills, because everything else is somewhat theoretical. Universities are academic institutions that are raised in the University of Manchester, and all the universities in Manchester is great. We have such good universities in our doorstep, but at the same time, they have to cater for different needs, for different businesses. And for really, it's a global university as well, isn't it? So they can't design their products so only to suit the needs of one trader. A company down the road that 150 people, when they're still coming from schools country in the world.
I think one of the criticisms from the sort of university of formal education is that actually once at a sort of apprentice level, they're more malleable in the sense that actually you can mould them better. Whereas once they've come out of university, they might have picked up some bad habits, and that actually, the earlier you get them, the more you can shape them to be what you want them to be.
Yeah, I personally disagree with that. I think it's quite stereotyping people by assuming that they're going to university for 3 years and that now everyone's the same because they're just at the university for 3 years. I think if you go on that premise, then maybe you should just start very early and just not change your but I think people go through life experiences, and that obviously shapes who they are. It's our, I guess, challenge as an employer to welcome people at different stages in their lives, integrate them, make them work well together, and actually avoid those stereotypes. I think in order for a business to be successful, you need to have apprentices, you need to have graduates, and you need to have experience recruits. They need to have more mature recruits. So I think you just need to look at all these different people and get them all and get them to work together, as opposed to thinking about them as in isolation. You need to look at them as a group.
Okay.
We're trying. I don't think they are. I don't think we're there yet. We're trying. We're constantly trying, and with all these different initiatives, different programs that we run, we constantly need to keep trying. I think we're doing a good job, and I think there's a lot of work to be done.
Is there any particular things you might think that could be doing over the next year or 18 months to make these programs more effective?
I think we need to make those programs more functional. Right. Even when it comes to choosing the apprentices, I don't think that we should be choosing the apprentices that go into the technical apprenticeship only using people from our technical teams. And that goes for something that we're looking at. I think we should really look at our interview process, even for a developer, including someone from our sales and service tribe, all the way to all the interviews that we do. They should actually be recruiting for a Java developer. There is no reason why the person who skill level is conducting the interview and not being from sales and service or not being from finance. I think that's going to bring everyone more together, because you're not necessarily going to be selecting people that are like you selecting people that are able to be another trader.
I think that's usually exactly compares the same in Lisa's firm, where actually people have technical and managerial and sales, then business management, whereas actually developers kind of come. I've never had a developer who's gone from development to sales. We've never even crossed people's minds that day.
And why not? I guess, and the other way around, obviously, because you can maybe have someone with that background or the skills that would learn how to code. But it's not only about moving from one way to the other, it's about collaboration together, and collaborate, which is the main thing. Because that's not supposed to be done in later on. Then people moving from one way to the other, they still need to collaborate together.
Okay. Thank you for your time. It's very insightful. All the information that we're receiving from people is helping us quite a lot, really. And we can see that there are some patterns emerging So really, thank you very much for your time.
No, you're welcome. Good luck. I'm looking forward to reading the final piece.
Yeah, so we. When we get there. Yeah.
How much do you have left after this one? This is the only group one that you're doing there. Oh, okay. Yeah. It's not very far away, isn't it? It's going to be this sort of like the last few days when you're writing. This is the exciting part, collecting all the information. When you have to put it all down on paper.
I know, yeah.
When I was doing my dissertation, I was counting. I don't know why I was counting the words like every 15 minutes. That was most of the word count. Yeah, only 10 more.
That's not encouraging.
Great, nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you again. All right, well, I'll speak to you soon too.
Bye.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. That was really useful. Thanks a lot.